Alright John, welcome to Pigeon. This is round 5 of Club 100. Unfortunately, as I mentioned briefly in my last video, I did miss the footage for round 4 at my house. So I'll just give you a quick rundown. In my heats I finished 6th, 3rd and 2nd, which is a good improvement because I've always struggled at Rye House. It's sort of the Monaco of karting, and I'd actually never been in an A final there, which is partially because I missed it one year, but I did manage to qualify 8th for the A final and I got into 4th on the first few laps, but I did drop back to 9th as I was struggling a little bit coming off the corners. But anyway, moving forward onto heat 1 at Pigeon. I'm starting in 2nd place, so hopefully we can start off the day well here. Coming down to the line, and we are green alongside Michael Reeder for the lead. Tried to hold it around the outside, but he covered it well, and he still has the inside into the chicane, which we're always told we're meant to go single file through. Because obviously the tyres on the outside and the inside as well are going to cause some issues if anybody hits them. But anyway, we've slotted in behind Michael, trying to figure out if our kart's any good or not. And you obviously have a 3-minute warm-up before the first race, and I thought it was pretty decent, to be fair. So tucking into the slipstream down the straight, and slipstream's quite a big thing around clay as Michael Reeder goes a bit wide, but especially down the start finish the slipstream is a massive thing, as I passed quite a few people just down the straight before. And again here Michael goes wide through the hairpin, and he goes defensive actually this time, and now I'm right up the back of him and I'm thinking I've got to get rid of him now. I've got to get into the lead, because you never know who's going to be behind waiting to take your place if you don't. So I'm in the slipstream. I go for that move I spoke about that I did the year before, and try to cover it off into the first proper corner, but he manages to hold it well and actually goes slightly deep and allows Liam Nolan to get both of us on the cutback. So not amazing there, but early days in the race. And now we've got Dean Everest, who completely overshoots the corner and pushes me wide, and that really frustrated me. And I can't lie, I did lose my head a little bit in that moment, and I did make a slight amount of contact with Dean, and that actually ended up giving me a penalty. So 4-place penalty I got given for that, which is completely fair. As I say, I did just have a heat of the moment action there. I would not normally do that, but you'll see next time by that my number is up on the board for a penalty. So now I'm just thinking about, trying to get as far forward as possible and nullify the penalty as much as I can, because even if I win the race now, I can only finish a maximum of 5th. So we're going to have to try and do that. Caught up to the back again of Liam Nolan here in the slipstream, and I think better of going for that move again, and instead I go for it on the brakes into turn 1, and he tries to squeeze me a little bit there, but I did manage to hold it and take 2nd place. And now we've got to try and catch Michael, but I'll show you this lap here because it was my fastest lap of the day. Braking just before on the curb into turn 1, trying to keep it tight all the way around, so long right-hander, and then you've got to hit both curbs at the chicane to try and shorten the track as much as possible. Don't hit the sausage curb on the right there. Keep it tight at the start of that first hairpin and then run it all the way over to the curb on the left. And then this corner's a slight brake, and try and get on the power as early as you can. It's longer than it looks there, and then just tapping the curb on the right, minimising it. Slight brake into the last corner and straight back on the throttle when the car settles down. Use all of the track limits, but not too much because you will get penalised. And that was my fastest lap of the day. and it was the fastest lap of this race as well, and it has also helped me catch back up to Michael Reeder. So a couple more laps left here as we lap somebody there, and I am smelling blood a little bit here. I caught him from a fair distance and he's feeling the need to go defensive again, which he's well entitled to do, especially this late on in the race. So as he goes slightly wide into the last corner there, a bit of understeer, so I've got a run on him now, and he's looking over trying to squeeze me a little bit, and I think he thinks he's covered it off, but I just about managed to slot it up the inside and take the lead back. And that is where we'll skip to the end of the race, because I did manage to hold on to first place. I'm going to cross the line to win on the road, but with that penalty that does drop us to 5th place, which I'm quite disappointed in myself, especially afterwards, because when you've crossed the line first you want to be able to celebrate the win, but couldn't manage to do that. But I did get what I deserved, to be fair, and I'll be thinking about not doing that again. And actually I didn't get a penalty for the rest of the season up to this point. But anyway, into Heat 2, we're starting 7th for this one. A little bit of contact, as there usually is, between everybody at the first corner. I managed to slip up the inside of Matt Cockerham there, and Andrew Ward runs a little bit wide, which corners off Dean Everest, so I slip up the inside of him as well. And I told Andrew Ward there when he looked behind, I gave him the push signal, because I think he thought about going defensive, but I was like, no, don't worry, I'm not going to fight you this early. Let's try and catch up to the leaders. And he obliged, and we are now going to work together on the next lap or so. There's a mini slipstream in P4 at the moment, so it's been a good first lap. We've got Charlie Summers and Steph Theodoro are the front two there, both class 2 drivers, and me and Andrew Ward are class 1, so we'll be 1 and 2 get to the front now. But here I got a good corner here, and I caught Andrew on the entry and didn't lose it on the exit, so I thought I might as well go for the move, and I made it clean and slotted into 3rd place. And now Andrew's going to work with me, because it looks like I might have a little bit more pace in this race, but I know he's a quick driver, so he'll be able to slot onto the back of me. Steph has a little look into first corner there, but doesn't quite get it done. But he's got a slightly better line than Charlie, I would say, going through that chicane. So he's going to look to the inside again for the hairpin, and he's going to take the lead. Charlie has to run a little bit wide, and I get a run on him, but not quite good enough, and there was a yellow out anyway, so I wouldn't have been able to do anything. It's all cleared up now. So on the back of Charlie, and we are thinking about a move down start finish once again. Best place to overtake on the track, really, as we get a good run again. And once again I'm thinking about the left hand side, but it can't quite work, and we actually tap Charlie there, so he gets a bit of extra momentum, but he goes slightly deep into the first corner, and we do get the cut back. And most of the time, if you have the inside into that chicane, it's game over for the one on the outside. You can't really do anything. So I do manage to slip up the inside and get 2nd place, and now it's just Steph in front for the lead. So we'll see what we can do against him, and we have actually done a better corner there, so already on the back of him. Steph's always a difficult man to pass. He defends to the absolute limit, and I have a look for my favourite move down the inside there, but I don't think he saw me, and I actually touched the grass a little bit, so I have to have a bit of a rethink there. And seeing if we can get a run on him out of the next corner. Obviously my tyres, or my left tyres especially, were slightly less grip after that grass excursion, but we're alright now. We're back onto the back of him. He's going slightly defensive, still about halfway through the race, so he'd have a long way to defend against me from here, but that is what he's going to try and do. He is in the lead of the race, but again I seem to have a good line against a lot of people around there, last corner there, but Steph is not going to give it up easily, and I parked it on the apex there, but he did actually give me a bit of a nudge, which allows him the inside again. I thought that was a little bit cheeky, but we try and get the cut back through the chicane, and he runs us over the sausage curb there. So aggressive driving here, but it's working for him. And I'm trying to, well, I'm getting a little bit frustrated again, but I'm thinking again about how it got the better of me in the first race, and I've got to keep it calm, plenty of time to go. And once again, we're getting a better run than him, and we've got a good overlap this time. Obviously there's a left kink, so he has a bit more momentum, but we managed to really stick our nose in that time. But because there was a slight bit of contact between us, Andrew Ward cut back on both of us. So not ideal, but at least we're ahead of Steph now. And skipping forward a little bit, Andrew's now starting to defend from us, and we're sizing up who we can go, or where we can go past rather. And again, we're getting a really good run, and I just found that throughout the day really I was sort of sacrificing the entry to that corner instead of going for entry speed, and it seemed to be working because I got a slingshot and we got into the lead past Andrew into the first corner, and nobody ever caught us again. So we did manage to win that race, which, to be honest, that only made me really more annoyed about the first race, because we would have had 2 wins out of 2 if it wasn't for that penalty. But karma is trying to tell me something there, I think, and yeah, I will not be doing that again. Moving into the third heat now, starting 9th for this one, 5th in the first so far. So what can we do to improve on it? And there's a load of contact there, and loads of people have gone off, and I've got a clear track in front of me except Andrew Ward again. But got into 3rd place, and I'm thinking there was a lot of people off there. I'll be surprised if that doesn't get false started. And as you can see, as we come out of here, it does get false started. And normally I wouldn't show you that, but the fact that it was so crazy, and also my good friends Jake Hicklin and Martin Goddard, as novice drivers, ended up coming out of that first few corners in 5th, 6th, which I was a bit gutted for them because they were right behind me, and that would have been their best heat result by a mile if they held on to that one. But unfortunately it did get restarted, and this is the real start now, and we still gain a couple of places as we're on the inside, and trying to slide up the inside of Andy Orford here, but he still had the line, so he held it. But Clay is another one of them tracks where you really benefit from starting on the inside on the first lap. If you're on the outside, it's just such a distance, and you're really fighting for it on the first lap, whereas the inside guys can kind of just slot up the inside and have about 5 meters less of track to come. But anyway, we're having a look on Andy Orford here down the straight, and once again I don't go for my favourite slipstream move, but I do slingshot up the inside of the first corner and go straight to the curb so he can't cut me back. And decent move there up into P5. Skipping forward a bit here onto the back of the train for the lead. Once again we have good pace here at Clay, and we've got a run on Aaron Clark, and we're going to get him down the inside of that little hairpin there into 4th now. So again, it's going really well. Trying our best to close the gap on people, but we just seem to have good pace around Clay on this day in particular. I've always liked Clay. I've been here a few times with Club 100, and even though the results have never gone my way, I've always thought it's a fun track. So there's a yellow out there, but there's somebody in the barrier actually. Couldn't quite see who that was. But we have caught up to the back of P3 here. It's Nicholas Lacasas, and getting a good run through that corner, so I open up the last corner to try and get a run down the straight, and he doesn't even realise we're here yet. So I'm going to look down the inside. Once again, seems to be the place to be doing the moves today into P3, and I did it just before that stationary yellow flag, so definitely needed to be done there, otherwise I would have been waiting another lap. But skipping forward again onto the back of Adam Britton, but I couldn't really do much about the two guys in front. Once I caught them, it was kind of a bit of a stalemate, to be honest. Everybody's pace levelled out, and there was only a few hundredths of a second between our fastest laps on the result, so it was a close one, that, but managed to get third, which from 9th place, and considering how the day had gone so far, I will definitely take that. So it would have been a first and third, but it's actually a 5th first and third, which puts us 7th for the A final. And I did calculate it, we would have started on the 2nd row. It was either 3rd or 4th if we didn't get that penalty, but oh well. Got to move forward now and get on with the A final. P7 it is, and away we go. At least we've got the inside. We're behind Martin Theodori, and there's the usual amount of contact into first corner, and the man who doesn't know where he's starting on the grid, as you'll see later at the video, manages to push me out of the way. Thanks for that, Yusuf. But no, you always get contact like that at the start. It's just 26 cars going into one corner. It's always gonna happen, and it depends whether you're on the good or bad side of it. But anyway, Yusuf has managed to get past Dante Dillon there, and we're down to 8th place, and Fraser Brunton in the Leeds managing scamper away already. But everybody's starting to battle here, and I'm giving Dante a bit of a push, and we managed to slot up the inside of Yusuf, and he lets me go like the true GOAT that he is. And actually, this was only a few weeks, this round, after the 24-hour race we did with the team named Yusuf's Goat Farm. Obviously Yusuf was the team captain, and there was a few drivers in this race that were involved in that team as well, and we were all battling. And to be honest, Fraser was the only one that made it boring because he had to go and win by a mile. But anyway, skipping forward, Dante has managed to get down the inside of Andrew Ward, and I have now caught up because of that. And actually, in this race, I was quite struggling with getting the power down because the rear tyres really were struggling. I think maybe they were a bit worn. But out of this corner especially, you can see Andrew gets a bit of a getaway. Also on the previous lap, you could see about Dante just completely disappeared from me in a couple of corners, and it was quite difficult to keep up with people. But I think we've got a little bit more pace than Andrew in this one, in the slipstream. And we're going to pop it down the inside into turn 1, back into 6th. And seeing if we can latch onto the back of this train, because Harrison Kirkham, another one of the Goat Farm, is managing to hold on to overall podium here, which is obviously the ultimate goal for us. But Martin Theodoru has slipped down his inside and took it off him now. But we are enjoying this because we know we're slightly down on traction, but if they keep battling, then we've got a solid chance of our first overall podium in Club 100. My best ever finish is 4th, and we want that to change, as Harrison gives Martin a right punt into the first corner there, and Dante cuts back on both of them, and Martin is not very happy about that. There's a lot of contact, and I try and cut back on both of them, but sort of get edged out there, couldn't really go anywhere, so I had to lift. And then Martin pushes Harrison back there, and Yusuf manages to slip through because I was stuck on the outside of both of them. And I tried to cut back on Yusuf, but again, my traction is just not as good, and I was struggling and I couldn't hold it, so I'm down to 7th again. But I can tell you that Martin and Harrison both got penalties for those bits of contact on each other, because they both effectively gained a position on each other by the way of contact. So I didn't know that at the time. Well, I knew about Harrison's penalty, but I didn't know about Martin's. So we've got to carry on going, because we may pick up a few places here if we're in the right position. But again, look how much Yusuf gets away out of that corner. It's really struggling to get the power down in this race, but he chucks it down the inside of the last corner. It doesn't quite work, but he doesn't get penalised because he still didn't gain a position. But we gained one on him instead, and we were in the slipstream of the lost momentum Harrison, and we have managed to get both of them in one straight there. But Yusuf's managed to cut back, and he's on the inside of us now, but we held it around the outside of the chicane. We just had a nose ahead, and now Harrison's trying to creep down the outside, but we defend and keep it. So into 5th now, but Dante and Martin have just managed to creep away after all of that battling between us there. I think Yusuf gave us a bit of a nudge into the hairpin there, a bit wide, but we wanted to get on with it. And he's on the back of me now, Yusuf, as again I'm struggling to keep it on the track with the power coming out of the last corner there. But yeah, Yusuf's really pushing us along now, trying to see if we can catch that gap to the guys in front, but really it is going to look difficult. I think we've kind of took ourselves out of the equation now. But going into this hairpin here, you can see I had a bit of a wobble there, and it was because Yusuf went for a move and actually caught on my rear wheel. We're going to switch to his footage here, and he was a bit too far back for him braking zone for that short, and it completely got it wrong, caught my rear end and spun out. So that's the second time he's been involved in a spin with me this season. So I'm clearly some kind of curse for him. I think he was too intimidated by my goat farmness. But anyway, skipping forward a bit, Sam Lovelace managed to carve through the field, another one of the goat farm, and he had a lot of pace in this race, as Harrison again just trying to go around our outside, or somebody was anyway, but Harrison's cut underneath, and I actually thought I got pushed there. It felt like I got pushed into the apex. I was a little bit annoyed about that one, but I spoke to Harrison afterwards and he said he didn't touch me, so I don't know if I caught Andrew Ward, who was on the outside. But anyway, we've got to get on with it, down to 7th place, and Sam has got a little bit of a gap away from us now, so we're going to try and work with Harrison to try and catch Sam back up. But yeah, not too long left now. The final's been going on for a fair while, but Harrison getting away from us out of the corner there, a little bit sideways from him there, so we gained a bit back. But I think we have managed to slightly catch Sam on this lap, so maybe a chance of getting back to P5 on the road. But remember, Harrison's got a penalty, and we didn't know at the time, but so does Martin Theodoru. We don't know where Martin is because he's too far ahead now, but we've got to keep pushing because we don't know how many places we could gain through all these penalties. So all we know is at the moment we're in 7th, but we'll try our best to make an improvement on that. Sam runs a tiny bit wide there. Harrison's now on the back of him, so we're hoping that these two hold each other up a little bit. Obviously don't want any bad luck on them, as we are close with them after that 24-hour race. But Harrison is going to look down the inside into turn 1 and covers the inside nicely, and I tried to follow him through on Sam, but Sam squeezes me and I couldn't follow him. Good defending there from Sam. So I'm stuck in 7th, but Harrison's now up to 5th, and again I'm losing coming out of the corners. I'm trying to make the most of it though. And Sam is still on the back of Harrison, so still a good opportunity for me if these guys hold each other up. And I believe we are going on to the final lap of the final now, so see what happens here. And Harrison runs a tiny bit deep, and Sam's going to cut back on him, and Harrison completely cuts across him and holds them both up, and I'm going to cut back on Sam and get back up into 6th, and we're side by side with Harrison going into the hairpin on the final lap, try and squeeze him to the inside, but he's still there and holds it off well. And we go defensive from Sam, and that's pretty much the last serious overtaking place gone, and Sam was a bit unhappy about that one, I think, but again, everybody spoke about it afterwards and no problem. I wasn't involved anyway. Harrison's not happy about his penalty because we're finishing behind him, so we're going to benefit of that. And as you can see on the screen, Martin Theodoro actually did finish 4th, so him and Harrison were the 2 after me, and I managed to pick up places on both of them. So despite finishing 6th on the road, we did come 4th, which is my joint best finish. So I was pretty chuffed about that. And to be fair, every single race of this day was really good, and I took a lot of confidence going into the next round. I was thinking I basically did come in the top 4 every race on the road. So yeah, really good performance there. And that will be the end of the round. Next one is Lid. You don't want to miss that one. I will see you soon. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.